What's going on, lads and lasses? Today, we're going to be taking a look at what happens when you're trapped on an island with your shitty-ass boss. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at Sam Raimi's Send Help. And as a huge fan of Raimi's Evil Dead films and the early seasons of Survivor, this was right up my alley. Without further ado, drop that needle. The film starts out for the first 15 minutes as your typical workplace drama, nothing we haven't seen before. Linda does all the work while Bradley steals the credit, and after a very valid crash out and a not so very valid tuna sandwich, Linda's off with the guys on a company trip to prove herself before the merger, but we all know she's gonna get canned after this. On a side note, I don't think Bradley was wrong here. Tuna sandwich? In an office? Brother. Before we get into anything too crazy here, I want to drop a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Send Help, I recommend you go watch it before coming back to this review, of course. Now that we got that out of the way, holy shit did this plane crash scene take me off guard. One second we're watching the Black Pill Posse make fun of Linda for her Survivor tryout tapes. Next second, we're watching almost like this bitch is Carrie brings down the plane. Like we're watching some Final Destination shit. This thing just goes down. Did we even get an explanation why? Wait a second. Boeing. Well, the plane is going down and the business bros are fighting for their lives to try to get their seatbelts buckled. Even turning on each other. I want to highlight that for something I'm going to say later on. Linda survives because safety first. She swims to the nearest island where she finds her good-for-nothing boss when she wakes up the next morning and Linda. You claim to be the Survivor guru. You just saw them be selfish and turn on each other back on the plane. Why are we chancing it and keeping Bradley untied, let alone alive? Come here, Linda. Vote his ass out. What are we doing? Knock his ass out in his sleep, and boom, you got food and silence. I don't know, I didn't like this guy from the jump. Well, it turns out Linda actually learned quite a bit of skills from the show. She quickly builds a shelter, gathers food, water, all while Bradley sits there trying to boss her around while he's recovering. Linda even hunts down and kills a boar all by herself, which I gotta say, the use of CGI in modern Sam Raimi horror films like Drag Me to Hell and Send Help is kind of jarring growing up with the Evil Dead films, the very gory practical effects, which some of these concepts do require CGI, so I'm not going to fault the film too much on that, because what's he going to do? Actually crash a plane? Actually fight a boar? Especially when we get the iconic Evil Dead POV shot and a Bruce Campbell cameo. At this point in the film, I'm really starting to wonder where the horror is, because we're just trapped on an island and it feels like some romantic drama. That is until we slowly watch Linda fall deeper into her delusions where she wants to stay on that island forever. And she don't want to stay there alone. She wants Bradley to stay there as well, creating this very passive-aggressive hostage situation. We see this take place when she's checking herself out in the water, making sure she's all island hot. She sees a boat come by, she starts to yell and then stops herself because she wants to extend her vacation. Like, woman, you have a bird in your apartment that is starving. It got to a point to where I don't even know who I was rooting for at this point in the film. Bradley has a pretty ballsy plan here to try to escape, where he poisons Linda and then has a makeshift raft just created behind the bushes. How the fuck did Linda not find that when she was scavenging? Like, bro had to spend time on that. But it doesn't matter anyways, because his plan fucking fails instantly, and then he's put in the situation that I, along with most of y'all, would not want to be put in. Brother, she poisons my guy, and then proceeds to tell this story about how they used to neuter their dogs to make them more obedient. Oh my god! I know I'm not the only one who winced and grabbed their family jewels while watching this scene, because what the fuck, dude? And the fact that they did this without even showing anything, without even doing it in general, just shows the level of filmmaking that Sam Raimi is on. Suddenly, Linda is found by Brad's fiance, and just like when she didn't get help from that boat earlier, she damn sure doesn't want their help either, so she takes them to the cliff where she almost fell earlier in the film. Basically recreating that scene. Now that the fiance and the tour guide are gone, Linda mopes on back to camp like, "Oi, I'm gonna take a sick day." Which is obviously sketchy as fuck considering her bubbly ass personality this entire time on the island. Eventually, Brad goes to scavenge because someone's gotta do it, and he goes and finds this bright ass ring that's been shown off numerous times throughout the film. It is kind of funny that her hand's just kind of sticking up like this. Bradley sprints back to camp to confront Linda about the situation, and this is where the actual horror takes place. Both Linda and Bradley are resorting back to a more primal version of themselves during this fight. We have hair pulling, biting of the flesh, This is sounding kinky as fuck. Let me start over. We got stabbing, choking, pulling the hair out of your scalp, biting your flesh, gouging your eye. And anyone that knows me knows that eye gore, oh, that's my Achilles heel. Bradley attempts to run and find shelter, which, in his mind, where the fuck are you going, brother? He ends up finding a beachside mansion that's just been there the entire time. Linda just told him not to go to that part of the island. Now, where this guy fucked up was he wasn't the one that found it first. This has been Linda's spot the entire fucking time. Where the fuck do you think she's been getting fresh fruit from? Brad ends up getting on his knees to beg for his life as he's staring down the barrel of a shotty, and this is my problem with not only this finale, but also the finale of The Boys. Why are we slowing down our finale fight to give us some emotional monologue that I don't give a fuck about, that doesn't lead anywhere? Linda, I told you not to trust these business bros. Were you actually believing him for a second? We end up getting a really nice transition where she swings that golf club and then it transitions to her life after the island. Which I gotta say, I feel like the same outcome could have happened had you would have just knocked him out in the beginning and, I don't know, been found. This film was a good time, but I feel like with a little bit more seasoning, this could have been an amazing film. Not to say this film has any glaring negatives for me. I feel like it's a bunch of little things that add up. Like, for example, that ghost fiance scene. Why is that in the film? It's kind of campy, I like it, but like, looking back, why? One thing I would change about this film is I feel like by the third act, we should have gotten more action, more gore. We had this entire film with these two characters waiting for them to snap at each other, and I feel like by the end, I'm kind of left with too white of a shirt. I guess that would have worked better if I was wearing white. Like I said earlier, huge fan of the Evil Dead films and the early seasons of Survivor, but also another film that I didn't realize the connection to until the neutering scene is Misery. No, because that neutering scene is basically like our hobbling scene. Rachel McAdams really did channel her inner Kathy Bates for this film. I like the concept of switching the power dynamic in the film, especially with Brad being the boss in the office and Linda being the boss on the island. Brad's having a really hard time accepting that, and I like that adds to his character. He doesn't change much, but still adds to his character. Oh, and at the very end, ain't no way her bird is alive. She was on that island for months. I bet you that bird was in a cage. That bird should be dead. I'm sorry. I really would recommend Send Help. I don't think it's going to surpass Obsession for movie of the year, but a really solid film, especially if you're a fan of Survivor or like that concept of being trapped on an island. This film was for you. Well, that was our little deep dive into Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi. If you have any other films you want me to check out, drop it in the comments section below. If you have any thoughts that I didn't bring up or you think I did a shitty job, drop it in the comment section below. Let's have a chat here. Let's not be strangers. I'll catch you later.